All right. Welcome to Trading with Meatball, guys. Today's the 15th of November, 2023. Content is for educational purposes only, but the entertainment is always free here. I like you to take my knowledge, but you may not want to trade the way I trade. My risk tolerance is different than yours. We're going to try and give you 5-minute videos, and I just share the whole screen. I don't care if you see my stuff, and I'm not the most professional video editor on YouTube. We take risks. We trade options. We lose money sometimes. We try to lessen the risk by using certain principles, and we certainly share those with you, okay? But if this is you, you may not want to trade with me. Just take my knowledge and pick your own setups. And that's the whole goal of this channel, is for me to pass knowledge on to you so you don't need me and you don't need anyone else. And you can learn to pick your own setups, but it is risky. Don't play with the rent money and don't gamble with money you can't afford to lose, okay? And yeah, I'm a big Johnny Carson fan. We're going to try to keep these recap videos to about 5 minutes every day if we post them so that you can find out what we did right, what we did wrong, and let's get started. All right, so about 9:15 this morning before the market opened, we're looking at the Amazon, and it retraced one, two, three times yesterday. That's yesterday's chart. And so I told everybody before the market opens, don't chase, look for the retracements. That's one of my principles I try to get. And my other favorite setup is I use the 20-day moving average, and I'll look for candles going up or candles going down, and maybe take the second candle as it goes up or above. And I want to go with the trend. Okay, up or down doesn't matter to me. So let's look at what we did. I told everybody again, this is right before the market opened. The 5 minutes shows a very clear retracement. I put some arrows on here. This is yesterday's, a 5 minute on Amazon. You can see the retracements very clearly there. So that's what, here we go. I told everybody 10 minutes after the market opened, I don't trade the open, but there you go. That's the retracements we were looking for. At that point, after the open, it was right here, and we marked the opening prints with black lines. That's yesterday's opening print. Now, why was I looking at it there, bouncing one, two, three times? Zoom out is always the answer. Always, always, always. Thank you, Alejandro at Kane Capital. Make sure you follow him and everybody at Kane Capital. They're good advisors. And that's one of his things, is zoom out. Always zoom out. All right. And so check the 2 hour, the 1 hour, whatever. But you can see this right about here. And I knew it was like 145 or something. It's an all-time high for the last year or whatever. And it's fighting there. And so I was looking at that level, and I knew it was bouncing there, but no one's going to send me an email when it takes off. So how do you get in when it's running? Well, it opened up here at pre-market, and I told everybody don't chase it, and sure enough, it dumped. Okay, but I told everybody also I don't trade the open, but there's the retracement. Okay, so what happened? I went in about 35 minutes. It looks like 10:06. We have a couple big candles with wicks on them. Let's get a better look at that. Let's get rid of the volume. Come on, man. There you go. Okay. So here's the candles. It went below yesterday's opening print, and then we got some nice tails on the bottom of these candles and a reversal. So I took that trade. If you see on Twitter, I post something like this with a circle on it, I just entered the trade, okay? And how did it work out? Well, it went up a little bit. I was up 12 or 15%. I set a stop loss, and then I just moved on and looked at my other trades. And I posted later, about 11 o'clock, that I got stopped out. And I said, oh, well, but at least I waited for it to dump. I didn't chase it. Okay, so they don't always work out. I advocate you to sell when it goes up 20, 30, 40%. I don't usually hold for the home runs, but you trade the way you want to. In any event, this one was moving up, and I set a stop loss, and it's a good thing I did because it failed. Okay, so that was a one trade. What did we do right? We waited for it to dump. We identified pre-market that it had bounced yesterday at certain levels there, and we were watching that level. And then when it went below that, we were watching it, but we didn't jump in until we saw some candles with reversals and tails on the bottom. So, we're trying to catch a falling knife, and that's dangerous. But when you see a reversal like this with big tails on it and volume, that's an entry for me. Okay. I only have 2 or 3 or 4 setups that I really like, and I share them with you. But if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, that's what a stop loss is for, right? Okay. I've been wanting to get the Amazon, but when it's fighting that all-time high like that, it's trying to get back into this upward channel, but it's at that all-time high. It's going to fight there, and so I don't want to just jump in and chase it. It's a disaster. Let's move on. What else do we do? Oh, the Rivian. So this is an old song from MOD. It's in a band from the 80s. Rides fast, the thrills are mean, right? Rivian's violent. You got to be careful, right? And that was yesterday. Today we went in, and we're going to go back to the Rivian. Okay, there's a reason I pulled that up. 10:14, 45 minutes in, we took our second trade. Okay, I don't like to chase, but nobody's going to send me an email. IWM did not send me an email this morning telling me what it was going to do, but it was chopping right here for a little bit, and then we got some nice candles, and it's just saying goodbye to the moving average in the opening print. And I said, okay, I'll grab me a piece. I'm not saying it's FOMO. I'm saying that it's a runner, and I've been watching it, and I've traded it before. I waited a little bit until the chop was over and they showed me their cards, and then I tried to jump on the trend. How did it work out? Well, it worked out pretty good right here. Okay. And I had posted that I sold the Rivian call I was holding overnight when it moved up, and I took a loss and then watched it triple after I sold it. Okay, this is transparency, guys. I'm not selling a Discord for $200 a month. I want you to learn from my mistakes and from my wins. And then I'm just going to look for a better setup, and I'm going to move on. Okay, but you can see my entries from yesterday. One of them hit, the other one I held, and then it dumped at the open. But I didn't panic. And the reason I didn't panic on the Rivian, we'll look at it real quick on the 5 minute because that's what I like to trade, is we have a nice big indecisive candle right here. And we had identified this $17 zone yesterday, and we're hoping that it's going to fight that zone because it has been fighting to stay around $17, and that's this zone right in here. It did not disappoint. It went right back into that zone. And when it dumped, I didn't panic because these candles are all over the place. And I knew from yesterday that it was trying to stay in this zone. And so I held, and I did not average down. I did not buy more. I did not panic sell. But when it moved up and it got into my zone, I said, that's a big gap up, man. I'm going to take my money off the table. And I did. And of course, it tripled right after I sold it. And I actually marked one here that I took later in the day that I did not share with everybody because I deemed it to be really high risk. I didn't make that much off of it, but it kind of saved my ass because I ate a lot of chorizo today. Today was a red day for me. And so we're going to talk about why. Let's talk about what we did right. We waited for an entry. We waited for some good candles. We bet small. We waited 30 minutes before we bet another bet, but we sold the Rivian. We moved on to a better play, and that was IWM. And I'm glad I did it. And I posted up here when it was up. Now, here's the problem. I had this in two different accounts, and I held it in the other account. Was I being greedy? Sure, I guess, but let's pull it up and look at it and see why I did this, okay? I told you don't trade the way I do. I'll take a few $100s and grow it into 5 or 10 grand. You can follow our journey and watch us if you don't believe it, or watch us blow up and then learn from our mistakes. But here's the IWM. And there's the trade I took, and it ran and it kept running after I, posted that. And that's why I was sitting on the other account. And it took a red candle, but I'm saying that's okay. It could be just a retracement. We'll find out. And I'm sitting on profits. Excuse me. So I have a little cushion. All right, so she tops out, and then we see a wick on the top of this candle, and we're sitting here at about 11 o'clock. And then I get another candle. It's even with this one. It's got a tail on the bottom. I'm thinking I might be okay. And I go to smoke a cigarette, and I come back, and we got the nice big red candle from the boys in New York taking away my profits. And then, of course, from there, it just went south, and we ate chorizo. Okay, so the lesson for today is sell when it goes up. That's the method I teach. And I elected to hold one because I always sell into 20, 30, 40 percenters, and then you get something like the Rivian that goes to the moon and triples after I sold it in here. And so I've had a lot of those recently that doubled or tripled after I sold them, and I've been posting that for you guys. So I elected to hold today, and it did not work out. And so we will go back to our standard method and start waiting for the bread and butter setup, which I love so much, and that is 5-minute chart and the 20-day moving average, and I want to see an up or down trend. I don't want chop like this, but I think the IWM is a better example. Let's look at that. There were some good entries on the puts today for the IWM as it went down, taking the second candle below this average, knowing that it had already topped out. This would have been a good entry for puts. And then you have a retracement a couple hours later, and then it starts dumping again and taking the second candle below the moving average. That's another good setup for puts. But look at how it respects the opening print, okay, and just bounces right off of it. All right, we're going to draw a zone on Google today for you guys, and then we'll end the video. Let's go to the 15-minute. You guys can draw zones. You guys can draw your own lines. It's not hard. We'll do one here for you. Let's do this one here. Here we go. All right, so we start here because we see it chopping on the 5-minute, right? Or 15-minute, I'm sorry. I trade the 5-minute. I like to draw the zones on the 15-minute. Now zoom out. And what do you got? You take that zone and go backwards in time and watch what happens, man. It's freaking magic. You guys can draw your own zones. Look at how it reacts in that zone. Easy peasy. You guys can do this. All right. So God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. I hope you got something. We share the winners and the losers here. You're a winner, guys. You know you are.